Established in 1875 as the Native Share and Stockbrokers Association, the BSE is the oldest stock exchange in Asia. The history of the BSE is the history of its people, the many men who founded the exchange, and the many people who took the torch forward and built it into the premier institution that it is today. There aren't many institutions in the country which can boast of having a 125-year-old history. Over this lifespan, the BSE has had good times and bad times. Adversity and the way those at the helm of affairs coped with it is what makes BSE today an institution that is vibrant and dynamic. The passing of the Companies Act 1850 paved the way for stock trading in India. But this activity could not pick up in the absence of a large basket of stocks available for trade. The number of shares available was few, and people did not really have large investable funds for trading in stocks. Brokers were a handful of only 6. There was no trading hall or stock exchange building, and whatever little trading that took place was carried out in the open, under the balmy shade of a banyan tree. The American Civil War, which resulted in an acute global shortage of cotton, changed all that. Lancashire mills had to turn to other sources, including India. As cotton was exported from India in large quantities, its price soared. Surat cotton, for example, went from a price of between 3 to 5 pence per pound to between 20 and 24 pence. Thus, between 1861 and 1865, export of cotton resulted in an unusual influx of wealth in the form of bullion amounting to 850 million rupees, much of which landed on the beckoning shores of Bombay. Naturally, this huge inflow of wealth sought investment opportunities. Such opportunities sprang up spontaneously and brought with them a new generation of visionaries who, being in the right place at the right time, played their designated role. Premchand Roychand, who by virtue of being the first Indian broker to read and write English, found himself eminently suited to lead the equities market in Mumbai to a new level. He floated or helped float several companies which sought equity investments. Initially, these shares commanded huge premiums, an offshoot of the paucity of investable outlets and a surfeit of funds. With the increase in activity, the number of brokers increased to between 200 to 250, as did their prestige and clout. When things cooled down at the end of the American Civil War, the organization build-up of the BSE started. At first, an informal association was created in between, and in 1887, the brokers formalized the arrangement through an indenture, spelling out Articles of Association of the Native Share and Stockbrokers Association. In July of 1875, 318 persons became, on payment of a princely sum of 1 rupee as entrance fee, members of the Stock Exchange Mumbai. They passed a resolution resolving to form an association for protecting the character, status and interest of native share and stockbrokers and of providing a hall or building for the use of the members of the association. It wasn't until 1887, however, that they could formalize their resolution by a trust deed, which was the foundation of the present Bombay Stock Exchange. Men of great wisdom and vision pioneered the growth of the BSE. Shri Chunilal Motilal, a signatory to the original trust deed and the first president of BSE, saw the exchange through its most embryonic phase. Shri Shapurji Bharucha, who was knighted in 1912, was the second honorary president of the BSE. He was responsible for setting up rules and regulation of the exchange. Shri Kikabhai Premchand, the third president of BSE, was knighted in 1931. He later became the Sheriff of Bombay. Shri K.R.P. Shroff, who rose from being a teacher to the presidentship of the BSE, created an indelible impression and used his sterling character, impressive appearance, strength of will and compassion for the benefit of the exchange. In 1916, he became a member of the exchange. In 1920, a director, and retained presidentship of BSE for 43 years between 1923 to 1966. Shri Phiroze Jeejeebhoy also belonged to that generation of stalwarts. He played a stellar role in molding the Bombay Stock Exchange to its present status. He was instrumental in developing the Indian stock markets in general and BSE in particular. It was to commemorate his contributions, first as secretary of the BSE and later as its chairman, that the present stock exchange building was named after him.